Next, I've been mulling this around, been reading the comments. I think they're just absolutely hilarious, right? I just think it's funny. People come up with these comments and it's just absolutely hilarious. So, I picked out 5 of them that I thought were funny. All right, here's the first one. Hey guys, I don't see your blank driving a NASCAR. Just one question. Would you like to get beat by a lady? She plays 6, so stop the bull. Okay, let's get into this one, right? So, of course, I don't race in NASCAR, right? To make it in NASCAR, like I said, it's a money thing. It's a money sport. You have to have backing, financial backing. Whether you do it yourself, your family does it, or you have corporate sponsors lining up to fork you in money, right? Okay, so I don't obviously race in NASCAR. Big whoop, right? How would it feel like to get beat by a lady? Well, I think that'd be awesome to get beat by a lady in racing, right? Especially someone of Hailie Deegan's caliber, because this is who it's referring to, right? She should be able to beat me in every way imaginable. She's got hundreds of thousands more laps of experience than I do. She has better equipment and financial backing than I probably could ever imagine to have. So in every aspect, she should be able to beat me, right? I would be the David of she's the Goliath, right? So she should be able to beat me. And would I be disappointed if she did beat me? No, not at all. I would actually take that with honor because I had a chance to actually race against her, right? I actually had a chance to race at a level that she competes in, right? So that doesn't even bother me one bit. I think it's hilarious. Obviously, I don't race in NASCAR, and obviously she should beat me, and I would not be mad about that because she should. She should 100% beat me, right? Okay. So now we'll go to comment number 2. Have you guys ever driven a road course? A 21-year-old makes a mistake and you're all over her. A lot of NASCAR drivers made tons of mistakes at COTA, but make a vid ripping on Hailie Deegan? Wonder why you picked her out. Waiting for your Texas analysis of Hailie Deegan. Lol. Okay, so we did have the Texas analysis, and we gave her all the props and kudos in the world. Congratulations on the 6th place finish. The video's up on the channel. You could watch it at any time. And second of all, we got on several drivers at COTA. We got on Bubba Wallace. We got on Daniel Hemrick. We got on AJ Allmendinger. We got on Carson Hocevar. You know, we've got on plenty of drivers over mistakes at COTA. We got on pretty much the whole field. Daniel Suarez, Ross Chastain. I mean, just name it. We talked about a ton of different drivers this weekend making terrible mistakes, right? We talked about Brad Keselowski, series champion, spinning around multiple times. It wasn't just Hailie Deegan that we ripped on, right? We talked about all the drivers, right? So obviously didn't watch the rest of our content and picked out the 5-minute segment that they did. So that's fun. All right, next is comment number 3. I think it's pretty disingenuous of you to claim she's been in the truck series for 4 years when she ran 1 race in the first year. How about getting the stats for the rest of the field and hold them to the same standard you're holding her to? And I'm not talking about the top 5 because everyone knows the top 5 or 6 are the same every week. They should be moving up, and there are only so many teams and so much money. Kenny Wallace logged 18 years in the Cup Series, starting 344 races and never won a race. When does your analysis suggest he should have been fired? So this is a good one, right? So he is saying that it's pretty disingenuous for us to consider Hailie Deegan a 4-year starter in the Truck Series. And you're right. We misread when we went through that and we gave her 4 years of credit when she only has 2.5 or 2 and a spare, right? So she's in that year 3, the do or die season, right? So that's what we mean, right? Number 2, Kenny Wallace is universally considered a NASCAR bust, right? He is 100% without a doubt considered a NASCAR bust. 344 races. This is take note that this was a different era of NASCAR, right? People give up on drivers way too soon anymore. And I believe sometimes it's justified and a lot of times it's not. But the fact that you would say that we should bring up Kenny Wallace's stats to base that upon Hailie Deegan's stats is just, that's apples to oranges, right? Hailie Deegan has got all this hype coming up and she's still young, right? We're judging her based upon the stats that she has. Kenny Wallace is universally considered a bust. It just is what it is. Everybody knows it. Everybody thinks it. He'll even probably tell you he was a bust in NASCAR. Just because you are a bust in NASCAR does not make you a bad race car driver. That's the furthest thing from the truth right there. If you were to say that you're a bust in NASCAR, but you're a terrible NASCAR driver, that just doesn't make any sense. You take any of these NASCAR drivers that have been busts in the past and you put them on against any competition at any local short track, they are going to kick your butt, They're going to kick you down and they're going to beat you badly. That's just the way it is. These guys have tons and tons of laps and experience on these tracks, and they're great race car drivers. Just because you didn't make it in NASCAR doesn't mean you're a bad race car driver, right? Just look at IndyCar right now. We have Takuma Sato, bust in Formula One. We got Simon Pagenaud, was a bust in his past. Juan Pablo Montoya, considered a bust in NASCAR. He was an amazing Formula One driver, Indy 500 champion. You look at Dario Franchitti, NASCAR bust, right? F1 or IndyCar or Indy 500 champion, right? You look at Alexander Rossi, Indy 500 champion, bust in IndyCar or in Formula One. So just because you're a bust in one division doesn't mean you'll be a bust for life, right? It's just people like Marcus Ambrose, considered a bust in NASCAR. Supercars, V8 Supercars in Australia world champion, right? Just because you don't make it in one discipline of racing doesn't mean you're a bad race car driver or a bust in everything. You just didn't pan out in that one series. Get over it. It just is what it is. A lot of these guys, they might be mad about it now, or maybe they're a little disappointed in how it turned out, but overall their careers turned out good in another facet of racing. And Hailie Deegan, if I'm not mistaken, has great resume in a different discipline of racing. So there's nothing to hang your hat about if you're a bust in NASCAR, right? You can always move back and be the best you can be in that series, right? So, Jimmy Johnson, the latest example, bust in IndyCar, but he's a 7-time NASCAR champion. That's just all I got to say about that comment. Okay, the fourth one here. Would you two please list your racing experience so we can understand what kind of in-depth expert analysis we are getting? It's not an accident that Kevin Harvick will be in the booth next year. His racing experience gives his opinion merit. They could probably save some money hiring someone from the stands, but then what do they have? You? Okay, this one's funny. So, I don't know if you've been watching the Fox broadcast this season or at all, but I'm pretty sure we could do a better job of making it entertaining than what they have now. I mean, Boyer's half asleep over there, has no funny intros or anything. He doesn't say anything worth value anymore. You got Mike Joy, who just completely lost his play-by-play calling ability that he had 10 years ago. And then they bring a rotating, revolving door of anybody else who just absolutely brings nothing to the table. The best one they've got, and they don't even have him on the broadcast, is Kurt Busch. So, I mean, if they hired us, at least we'd bring some funny entertainment into it. I mean, we could turn this straight up into a Judge Judy episode every weekend on Sunday. I mean, we could have Krusty the Clown doing juggling in the background. I mean, what kind of racing experience do we need to at least put on an entertaining broadcast? You know what I mean? My opinions don't bring merit because I don't have racing experience. Okay. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to tell that Jeff Gordon's a better race car driver than Kevin LePage, Doesn't take rocket scientists to tell that Kyle Busch is better than Cody Ware. Anybody could tell you that. That's the most obvious thing in the world, right? Like, you don't have to have racing knowledge to know that. You don't have to have racing knowledge to know what a set of tires is, or when they put them on, or how many laps to the fuel run. That's just learned experience, right? I mean, the only thing that Kevin Harvick's going to give you is his insight as a driver perspective. But when you're talking about overall product and overall entertainment value, you ain't getting anything from him. You are getting nothing from him. I mean, bring us on. We'll do a great job. So maybe if Fox is listening, just give me and Tom a call. We would love to come do a Fox broadcast for you guys. And bringing that to light, tune in to the NSR broadcast that we're going to be doing every Monday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday in the near future. And it's just going to get better, and we had a great time. So just come enjoy it there. All right, final comment, and then we will move on to the next segment. All right. This one, John Hunter Nemechek leaned his right rear bumper and bumped her just enough to upset her. He is a dirty driver. Look what he did today at Atlanta. Come on, man. First you say she should run up front to stay out of trouble, and then you say in the same breath she should have got out of the gas. She was running to stay up front. Let the driver learn and gain experience. Judge all drivers equally. If the male drivers never wrecked and only the female drivers did, you would have an argument. All I hear is anti-female driver BS. Your chauvinism is showing. Okay, so after this, I don't even know what chauvinism was. I had to look this up, but apparently I'm a chauvinist. First of all, this is not anti-female driver BS, right? So I think two drivers in my top 10 all-time most underrated drivers are both female drivers. I think Janet Guthrie, I've watched documentaries on her. I believe that she was a very underrated race car driver and never got the great opportunities because she grew up in a different era than we have today, right? She didn't get those great rides or those great opportunities, but she had great performances and great runs. Janet Guthrie is one of the most underrated race car drivers to ever walk the earth. Johanna Long, also very, very underrated race car driver. She didn't get a good break or get an opportunity, but she never tore up cars. I mean, everybody does, but she didn't do it on a consistent basis. She got great runs in the equipment she had. She was kind of like a Ross Chastain. She could get more out of the equipment she was ever given. So if it makes me a chauvinist to think that two drivers on my top 10 all-time most underrated driver list are females, then so be it. I'm a chauvinist. So, and then the double standard there, right? You're going to call John Hunter Nemechek a dirty driver. So if you think that he's a dirty driver, what's the opposite of chauvinist? I mean, there's no point of arguing with that. When someone has to use a word that ends with ist or isms or whatever, or call you names, they've already lost the argument because they have no point at this time. Their only defense is to throw slurs at you or to label you as something that you're not because they have nothing. They have no argument, right? So I thought that was hilarious. So if I'm a chauvinist, then I'm a chauvinist, I guess, because I look at the stats and the facts, and the stats and the facts do not lie.